You know that feeling when you have jet lag? I mean, real heavy cross-oceanic jet lag.
Yeah.
You're wide awake at 3 in the morning, just staring at the ceiling, hungry, ready to go, but the whole world is silent. It's so
It
disorienting.
feels like your body's just betraying you. You know you should be asleep, your brain wants to be asleep, but your system is just online.
Right. Now, imagine feeling that, but you have zero control over your limbs, you can't speak, you have no concept of time, and your only way of saying, hey, I'm awake,
Mm.
is to just scream.
That is a terrifying way to frame it. But biologically, that's pretty accurate.
That is the reality for a newborn.
Yeah.
And for the parents.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. I want to unpack a scenario today that I think every single new parent has either survived or is, currently in the trenches of. It's 2 a.m., you are exhausted,
Hmm.
but you have a baby. They are staring at you, eyes wide open, ready to party.
And then comes the cruel twist.
The twist, fast forward to noon the next day,
Yeah.
you want to show off the baby,
Mm.
and they are out cold, unwakeable.
Sleeping like an angel.
You could run a vacuum cleaner next to their head and they wouldn't even flinch.
It is the classic switcheroo, the universal struggle.
It feels personal, doesn't it? Like the baby's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
But today, we're doing a deep dive into a stack of medical advice, specifically referencing the work of Dr. Mahesh Yadav, to explain that this is not your baby being difficult. It has a name. It's called day-night confusion.
It's one of the most common concerns parents have. But what I love about this deep dive is we're not just going to say, it's normal, deal with it. We're going to look at the neurology.
Yeah.
Because it's actually a very specific, logical, biological process.
That is our mission. We're going to figure out why a baby thinks midnight is playtime. We'll lay out a realistic timeline so you know when this vampire phase ends, and give you a toolkit to support the process. Because the sources are clear, you can support this, but you cannot force it.
Precisely. And it's really about understanding that a newborn is not just a small adult. Their operating system is completely different.
So let's start with the why. Because when I read through Dr. Yadav's notes, I had this total aha moment about the womb. I think we just assumed it's dark in there, so babies are just sleeping all the time.
It's actually the opposite. The environment inside the womb, it explains everything. Think about the Mother's Day. She's walking, moving, running errands.
So she's creating motion.
Constant motion. All that movement creates a rocking sensation. It's like being in a hammock that someone is just constantly swinging.
So during the day, the mom is basically a giant walking rockabye baby machine.
Exactly. That motion rocks the baby to sleep. So during the day, the fetus is often sleeping, but then what happens at night?
She lies down,
The rocking stops.
and the silence wakes them up.
That's when the baby wakes up and starts kicking. Ask any pregnant woman when the baby is most active. It's almost always right when she tries to go to sleep.
Oh, wow. So they're basically training to be nocturnal for 9 months. It's not a fluke. It's their actual schedule.
They are conditioned to be active when things are still. So when they're born, they're literally operating on a schedule that's the inverse of ours. It's not confusion to them. It's just what they've always known.
That recontextualizes everything. But the sources mention something else, a chemical component, the body clock.
Right. This is the second piece of the puzzle. Adults have a mature circadian rhythm driven by hormones, specifically melatonin.
Melatonin, the stuff in the sleep gummies.
The very same. Melatonin is the darkness hormone. But here's the kicker from the medical literature. Newborns do not produce their own melatonin right after birth.
Wait, so they literally don't have the chemical signal for sleep?
They have very little to none of their own. In the womb, they got it from the mother. Once the cord is cut, that supply is gone. Their brain just isn't making it yet.
So they are biologically incapable of knowing it's bedtime?
Essentially, yes. That hormone production starts developing gradually over the first few weeks. So you have a baby used to being awake at night who physically lacks the chemical messenger to tell them, hey, it's dark, go to sleep. The brain has to learn this from scratch.
Learning is the key word there. It sounds like we treat sleep like a switch, but the sources say it's a skill that has to be built, like learning to walk.
It is. The brain has to organize these patterns. And the primary teacher for that lesson is light exposure. But you can't rush it. You can't force a 2-day-old to have the circadian rhythm of a 30-year-old.
Which brings us to the part I think every listener is desperate for, the timeline. How long is the class? Because when you haven't slept in 3 days, eventually is not a helpful answer.
Managing expectations is so critical here. The sources break this down really clearly into phases.
Let's go week by week. Week 1, home from the hospital. What's the reality?
Week 1 is just total irregularity. Day and night look exactly the same to the baby. They wake up to feed, they get comfort, they go back to sleep. There's no pattern at all.
Okay, so week 1 is just survival mode. Don't look for a schedule.
Correct. But then comes week 2, and this is where Dr. Yadav points out something I call the fake out.
The fake out, that sounds ominous.
It's a very common experience. In week 2, parents notice the baby is sleeping for these really long stretches, but only during the day.
And then they're waking up constantly at night.
Constantly.
And that's when parents panic. They think, oh no, they're getting worse.
Exactly. But the source emphasizes this is a normal newborn adjustment. It's not a regression. It's actually the peak of that day-night inversion. Their natural night owl tendency is coming out full force.
Okay, so if you're in week 2 and your baby's a vampire, don't panic. When does the tide start to turn?
Weeks 3 and 4. This is the turning point. You might start seeing short stretches of actual sleep at night, maybe a 3-hour block. And, just as importantly, the baby starts becoming more alert during the day.
They start looking around more.
Yes. The lights are on behind the eyes, they're tracking things. That alertness is a sign the brain is waking up to the daytime. The circadian system is kicking in.
And then?
By weeks 5 and 6, you usually see the resolution. Many babies begin to develop a much clearer day-night rhythm. Night sleep gets longer, more predictable. The source notes most babies settle between 3 and 6 weeks.
That's actually reassuringly fast. I mean, 6 weeks feels like a lifetime when you're in it, but...
In the grand scheme, it's a short phase. And the advice really stresses that this change is gradual. It's not like they just wake up one Tuesday and get it.
The source also touches on why this feels so much harder than it biologically is. And it's about the parents.
Yes, we have to acknowledge the human element. Parents are recovering from delivery. There's trauma, hormones, exhaustion. When you're that sleep deprived, normal newborn behavior feels like a crisis.
Right. You're sitting there thinking, is something wrong? Are they in pain? When really, the baby's doing exactly what a baby is supposed to do.
Dr. Yadav's note is really comforting here. You don't need to fix the sleep. You just need to support the natural rhythm. You're gardening, just watering the plant and waiting for the sun.
I love that. But surely we could help the process along. We aren't just helpless bystanders waiting for week 6.
No, absolutely not. And this leads us to the toolkit.
Okay, hit us with the strategy. If we want to teach this baby's brain the difference between day and night, what is our primary tool?
Light. Light is the signal. It's the Zeitgeber, the time giver. Light entering the eyes sends a direct message to the brain's master clock and says, wake up.
So what's the protocol? Do we have to take the baby on a hike at 7 a.m.?
You don't need to go that far. The advice is simple. Morning sunlight exposure. Just take the baby into natural daylight. Even sitting near a window helps signal to the brain that this is daytime.
Is indoor light enough? Can I just turn on the lamps?
The sources suggest natural light is far, far superior. The intensity of light, the lux from a window, is just vastly higher than your lamp. It triggers the brain more effectively.
Okay, that seems doable. Sit by a window with coffee. What about the rest of the day?
You want to keep the daytime atmosphere normal and active, and this is a big one. Don't tiptoe around the house.
Oh, I am guilty of this. The whole, shh, the baby is sleeping.
Whisper. We all do it. But the source advises against it during the day. Allow normal household sounds. The vacuum, talking on the phone, dishes clattering.
So we're trying to associate daytime with input.
Exactly. You want to create a vibe that says, the world is awake, it's noisy, it's bright. Even if they're sleeping, let them sleep through it. It helps them learn that day sleep is different.
Okay, so day equals bright and loud. What about the nighttime protocol?
This is what I call the boring strategy.
The boring strategy. Tell me more.
At night, you want the exact opposite. Keep the lights dim, use a nightlight, maybe a red light, because blue light suppresses melatonin.
And sound.
Keep your voice soft, or, don't speak at all. Interaction should be minimal.
So no playing, no tickling toes.
Yeah.
Even if they're cute and smiling at 3 in the morning.
Especially if they're cute and smiling. You have to be a stone wall of boredom. Feed, burp, change if you have to, and settle. No stimulating play. No eye contact if you can avoid it.
That sounds harsh. No eye contact.
Eye contact is incredibly stimulating for a newborn. It wakes up their social brain. You want to send the message that night is for necessities only, not social hour. It's strictly business.
It's all about the contrast, isn't it?
That is the key word. Massive contrast. Bright, loud, social days. Dim, quiet, boring nights. That's what helps those hormones figure out which way is up.
I want to move on to busting myths, because The source material brings up some really common advice that is actually dead wrong.
This is where it gets interesting because some of these myths have been around for generations.
The biggest one has to be keep them awake during the day so they sleep at night. Tickle their feet, don't let them nap too long.
And Dr. Yadav gives a hard no to this. Do not force wakefulness.
Why not? Logic says if I'm tired, I sleep better.
Because a baby isn't an adult. An overtired newborn is actually harder to settle. When a newborn gets too tired, their body produces cortisol and adrenaline.
They get wired.
Exactly. They enter a state of stress arousal. They become fussy, frantic, and unable to shut down. The advice is to let them nap, but, and this is our toolkit, let them nap in the daylight with the noise, but do not poke them awake. It backfires.
Okay, good to know. Myth number 2. The baby is waking up because of the night feeds, so we need to stop feeding them so much.
This one is dangerous. The source clarifies that night feeds are biologically necessary. It is not a bad habit.
It's a survival mechanism.
It is. Newborn stomachs are tiny, like the size of a walnut. They literally cannot hold enough milk to last 8 hours. It's physically impossible. Frequent feeding supports growth, hydration, and crucially brain development.
It's like a high-performance engine with a tiny gas tank.
That's a great analogy. It needs constant refilling. And for breastfeeding moms, prolactin, the milk-making hormone, often peaks at night. So night waking is a feature, not a bug.
All right, so we aren't trying to starve them into sleeping. What about swaddling? Is that a cure?
It's a tool for comfort, not a cure for the clock. Swaddling helps them feel secure and prevents that startle reflex from waking them up.
But it doesn't teach them the time.
No. Only light and routine can do that. Swaddling helps them settle, but it doesn't fix the internal clock itself.
So swaddle away, but don't expect it to magically solve the problem.
Exactly. Use it as a tool, not a teacher.
Now, we've talked about what's normal, but as a parent, you're always worried about what's not normal. The source includes a checklist of red flags. When should we call the doctor?
This is important. Confusion is normal, but some medical issues can look like sleep problems. First, weight. If the baby is not gaining weight, that's a medical issue.
Right.
Second, feeding mechanics. If feeding is poor or painful, if they're fighting the breast or bottle, that could be reflux, a tie, something physical.
And the crying itself.
We expect crying. But if it's excessive, high-pitched, or if the baby seems persistently uncomfortable, arching their back constantly, that warrants a call.
It's the difference between I'm awake and fussy and I am hurting.
Yes, and the timeline, if these problems continue beyond 6 to 8 weeks with no improvement, that's an outlier. Most babies should show some rhythm by then.
And the source mentions one last red flag I really appreciate, parental instinct.
Yes, you feel something is not right. If your gut says this isn't just a mixed-up clock, listen to it. Parents are the experts on their own babies.
I think that's so crucial. Don't gaslight yourself.
Never.
So let's wrap this up. We've covered the biology, the melatonin gap, the timeline, the boring night strategy. If you had to distill this into a few key nuggets, what are they?
First, reframing. This isn't a disorder, it's a neurological adjustment. The baby isn't broken, they are just new.
They're new to the planet. They haven't read the manual.
Exactly. Second, the mechanism. The womb programmed them for night, light reprograms them for day. Use the window. Use the noise. Be intentional about that contrast.
And third,
Consistency matters more than perfection. You don't have to get it right every single day. Just keep the general contrast and the biology will catch up.
I love that. Looking at all these sources, there's this theme that Dr. Yadav touches on. We spend so much time trying to fix our kids' sleep.
We do. We treat it like a problem to be solved, like a leaky pipe. But this deep dive really suggests our role isn't to fix. You can't force a flower to bloom by pulling on the petals. Our role is to support a natural biological rhythm that is going to happen anyway.
That's a beautiful thought. Patience isn't just waiting. It's basically a medical intervention here.
It absolutely is. The most powerful tool you have is time.
Well, there you have it. If you're listening to this at 2 a.m. with a wide-awake newborn, hang in there. It's normal, it's temporary, and the sun is coming up soon. Go find a window. Thanks for listening to this deep dive, and we'll catch you on the next one.